today's lesson we're going to continue our use of unit rates. When you know a unit rate, or you know how to find the unit rate, you can also then figure out how long it'll take you to do something, or how many things can be done in a certain amount of time. Or like our example from yesterday, if we want to buy 14 packs of pop, we can figure out then our cost. Our unit rate really helps us to find other equivalent ratios that relate. Okay, let's take a look at our first example. We want to write each ratio as a rate. So we're going to start by kind of creating a small little ratio table. So the ratio of miles to the hours is 434 to 7. So our ratio is 434 to 7. Now let's put that into a ratio table. If we put 434, we'll do miles on top and hours on bottom. I'm kind of just shorthanding here today, just kind of make it quick. 434 miles in 7 hours. I want to know how many miles can we go in 1 hour, because we want it to be a unit rate. So we're going to go to 1. To get from 7 to 1, that's how we know, because we're going to make the bottom one or the second one that they give us 1. That's the unit rate. Okay, so to get from 7 to 1, we're going to divide by 7. So we're going to do the same thing on the top. All right, I'm going to write myself a problem. I don't know that fact. 43 divided by 7, I believe, is 6. That gives me 42. Bring down my 4. 14 divided by 7, I know, is 2. That tells me that I'm going to be able to go 62 miles in 1 hour. All right, second part. The ratio of the number of laps to the number of minutes, so how many laps per minute, is 5 to 4. So our ratio is 5 to 4. All right, let's make a table connected it here, and I'm going to make my L a cursive L. Anytime we use L as a variable, if we make it just a normal L, it looks like a 1. So in math, I like to make my L's a cursive L if I use it as a variable. All right, laps to minutes. We had 5 laps for 4 minutes. We want the second unit to be 1, so we're going to take our minutes down to 1. So we're going to divide by 4. Now there are 2 ways to write this. We're going to divide by 4. A few lessons back, I don't remember exactly when, but a few lessons back we talked about having just a ratio looking like a fraction. So we could have 5 divided by 4, because we know that that's going to be a simplest form fraction. So we could do 5/4 of a lap per minute, which we write this way, per minute. Or we can divide it out and come up with a decimal. In my mind, it makes a whole lot more sense to do a decimal, so let's try it that way. Divide by 4 to get to 1, so we're going to do the same thing up here. So I'm going to take over here and write out my problem. 5 divided by 4 is 1. And I'm going to make it a decimal, so I have to place my decimal, bring down my 0. 10 divided by 4, I believe, is 2. Oops, that makes 8. I'm left with 2. I got to add another 0 here in my problem. Bring down my 0. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So I can do 1.25 laps per minute. That makes more sense to my brain. This one is correct, but this one I think makes a little bit more sense. And if it makes more sense to you, I'm okay with you doing it that way. All right, let's look at another example. I'm going to have to get a new sheet here. All right, new example. Dave is a pool cleaner, and he can clean pools at a constant rate of 3/5 pools per hour. And again, that's just like we did up here with a 5/4. Okay, so this is telling us 3 to 5 pools to hours. Okay, so he's a constant rate, meaning that he doesn't take longer for the first one or longer for the last one. It's a constant rate of 3 pools every 5 hours. Okay, first part. What is the ratio of the number of pools to the number of hours? Well, pools to hours. So our ratio is 3 to 5. And I'm going to label here just so we remember when we get farther on in our problem. Pools to hours. Just a little abbreviation for my brain to remember what we're doing. All right, second part. How many pools can Dave clean in 10 hours? There are two ways to solve this problem. I have a preference in a way because I think it's easier, but I will show you both ways so that you can choose what's easiest for you. So they're all different in our learning. Okay, so let's make our ratio table like we've done so far. We can do pools and hours. It's a quick abbreviation here. And you can do 3 pools in 5 hours. Okay, we want to go in 10 hours. So we're not doing unit rate this time. We're doing more of equivalent ratios. Okay, to get from here to here, we can multiply by 2. Because that's the one we know, that's where we will start. We're trying to figure out this one right here. If we multiply by 2 here, we can do the same thing here. Squish that in. I didn't leave myself much room there, did I? 3 times 2 is 6 pools in 10 hours. Pretty easy. Here's my other way of doing this. We could go back to our tape diagram, which I think is very visual, and I really like it because it kind of paints a picture for me, and I can see how it works. So I'm going to do a tape diagram to show 3 to 5, my ratio of pools and hours. So pools was 3, hours was 5. I'm going to split it right there. All right. So 3 pools in 5 hours. Okay, and I want to know if this was 10 hours, if this represented 10 hours, how much does this represent for pools? Well, if these 5 boxes represented 10 hours, I take 10, I'm going to divide it by 5 to see how many goes in each one. There we go, we kind of focus a little better. So 10 divided into 5 boxes is 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Well, these are equal, so this is 2. 2, 4, 6. 6 pools in a given 10 hours. 2 ways to solve it. You can choose your easiest way for your brain. My preference, I think I like this one because it's visual. The way I learned it was this way. So this is probably where my brain would go first, but it really likes to see this one because it's a good visual and my brain can remember it. Okay, let's do one more. This one is giving us our pools, and we want to know how long it's going to take. Okay, we still have our 3 to 5, so I'm going to come down here and kind of make a new one. Let's do this. Get closer here. Okay. 3 to 5. That was pools to hours. I'm going to start with the tape diagram one this time because it will work as well with both ways. But I'm going to start with my tape diagram. I'm going to go ahead and make a 3 for pools. Got to make sure I know what I'm doing here. And my hours is 5. That's the ratio. It's consistent. 3 to 5. And I know that we're going to do 15 pools. So the pools is going to be 15. That's given. It's given to us, this information we know. Now, if this represents 15 pools, I got to divide those up evenly among 3 spaces. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So there's 5 pools, 5 pools, 5 pools. Again, these are equal, so these are all 5s. I want to know how many hours? Well, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 hours. Very visual. Takes a little bit of work, a little bit of time, but very visual. Let's try our table, our ratio table. We'll have pools and hours. All right, we know that we have 3 pools in 5 hours. We want to know how long it's going to take to clean 15 pools. So we're going to know 15 pools. We want to figure out how many hours. All right, we got to first figure out how to go from 3 to 15. Means we're going to need to be multiplying times 5. We'll do the same thing down here, and we get 25 hours. Same answer. Either way is acceptable, whichever way you prefer to do it. Alright, that's it for our lesson today. If you have any questions at all, please put them in your ISN and we'll talk about it tomorrow.